Hi, I'm Cramer, and welcome to the short video that highlights some of the content of our recent newsletter. In this video, you'll also hear from several members of my team. We started this newsletter in an effort to better communicate with the people that support our research, and it is our plan to send out this newsletter every 6 months. The first project we wanted to give you an update on looked at the risk of tetracycline residues in milk after using tetracycline for the treatment of digital dermatitis. For this project, we treated 50 cows with 2 active digital dermatitis lesions in groups of 10 with 3 different dosages using either a paste or a wrap. The dosages we tested were 2 grams, which is about half a teaspoon, 5 grams, which is about 1 teaspoon, and 25 grams, which is about just a little bit less than an ounce, per lesion. We then took milk samples from these cows every 8 to 24 hours for a week and then tested them to see if there was tetracycline in the milk. To our surprise, the results from the milk testing showed that tetracycline does show up in the milk. After that, it was no surprise that the highest dose had the most cows with the highest concentration and the longest time period of tetracycline in the milk. We also calculated withdrawal intervals for each dose, and they range from 0 to 70 hours, depending on the maximum residue limit that is used in your country. So what does this mean? Should we use tetracycline to treat digital dermatitis? Well, it is my opinion that we should still use tetracycline to treat digital dermatitis, as we know it is effective and we now know the risks associated with its use. With this data, it is now possible for veterinarians to develop farm-specific treatment protocols that include evidence-based withdrawal recommendations. Unfortunately, for most of the other products that are currently used or marketed to treat digital dermatitis, we do not have the same information, hence I still feel tetracycline is our best choice.
Hi, I'm Laura Solano, a contract researcher working with Gerard. So now for a fun fact. While we were writing this newsletter, we had an interesting discussion about whether cows have claws or hoofs. And this is a controversy that has followed both Gerard and me around pretty much since our graduate work. So we finally took the time to figure it out. It turns out that according to the English naming conventions of the Veterinary Anatomical Association, the word claw is reserved for carnivores, and the word hoof is reserved for animals such as cows and horses. So for that reason, you will only see or hear us use the word hoof or hoofs in this update and in the newsletter.
Hi, I'm Grant Stoddard, a former PhD student in the Foot Health Lab. Another project we want to share with you compared the impact of hoof trimming cows around dry-off using the big model or little model. A big model removes more horn at the typical sole ulcer location. For this project, over 1,500 cows were enrolled and trimmed using these 2 methods. Enrollment included a total of 3 farms that were serviced by 2 hoof trimmers. We locomotion scored these cows every other week and collected hoof trimming data again from the cows at mid-lactation. Several things stood out from this study. The first one was that only 12% of the cows developed lesions. This is much lower than we expected and is likely due to the fact that we only enrolled cows that did not have a lesion at dry-off. The second thing that stood out was that overall we did not see evidence that there was a difference between the 2 different trimming methods. However, if we looked at the data on the lactation level, it appears that first lactation cows that were trimmed with the big model had less lameness and less lesions at their mid-lactation trim. One way to summarize this finding is that if you trimmed 100 first lactation cows at dry-off with the big model, you would have 5 less cows with hoof horn lesions at the mid-lactation trim compared to trimming them with the little model technique. Based on recent work from other groups working on lameness, it is likely that the difference between lactation groups is due to lesion history in the older cows. Our work supports the work from other groups that indicates the majority of cows with foot lesions have a previous history of lesions. Stay tuned for more work from our group in this area.
Hi, I'm Erin Winans, a PhD student working with Gerard. For future newsletters, stay tuned for updates on projects that try to unravel the relationships between ketosis and lameness, between lameness and reproductive performance, and how veterinarians, nutritionists, and hoof trimmers can work together to address lameness. Also, we have finished a project that evaluates the risk of antibiotic resistance in hoof trimmers, and we will share those results in the next newsletter.
It would not be possible to do the work we do without the support of the many people on my team, and I owe all the people on this slide a huge thank you. Thank you, everyone. Of course, none of the work we are doing would happen without funding, and I want to acknowledge the organizations on this slide who have contributed by either sponsoring a specific project, providing in-kind support, or having me out to speak about lameness. Thank you.